Okay, so the last topic that we're going to discuss in this chapter is notes receivable. All right, so a note receivable is a written promise to pay a specified amount of money in the future, and typically they do bear interest. So what we're looking at is a promissory note. It may look like a check, but it's actually a promissory note. Um, And so the essential elements of the promissory note are the amount, which is um, the amount that would be paid in the future, plus interest, which is here. The maker is the person who is obligated to pay, um, and the payee is the person who's going to get paid, and in this case, 90 days in the future. So that would be the due date. All right. So this is an example of a note receivable. All right. Um, when we have notes, we're going to also need to learn how to compute interest on the note. All right. Um, so here we have July 10th. TechCom receives a 1,090-day 12% note, promissory note, as a result of a sale to Julia Brown. All right. Companies may be willing to issue notes for longer term obligations because they do bear interest. All right. So here we have um, a computation of the maturity date. So days in July 31, the note was made or signed on the 10th, which is, let me get that pointer. So 31 days in July. The note was signed in July on the 10th. So 31 minus 10 is 21. 31 days in August, 30 days in September, and then 8 days in October. So the note matures on October 8th. Typically, we won't be needing to compute those. The maturity date is typically given in the problem. So our job would be primarily to compute interest. And this is our formula for doing that. So the principal are the face amount on the note times the annual rate, time expressed as a fraction of year, and we use the banker's year, so 360 days as opposed to 365. For this particular note, during its 90-day term, well, $1,000 is the face amount. It's a 12% interest rate, and we'll do 90 over 360. 90 is the days, well, it's the term of the note. 360 is the banker's year, and that works out to $30. And that's our standard interest computation. And this is an important formula to remember because we'll need it in this chapter to do notes receivable, and we're going to do depreciation in chapter 8, and in chapter 9 we're going to need this same formula to do notes payable, all right, which is the other side of the transaction. So that's kind of where we're going with this. Um, when a note matures, two things can happen. What you hope happens is the note is honored, which means that the maker, the person obligated to pay, does in fact pay. All right. And here we have J. Cook, $600, 15% 60-day note due on December 4th. All right, so we can compute that interest, $600, 15%, 60-day note, 60 divided by 360, $15 worth of interest revenue. All right, the face amount of the note is the 600. So the payee on December 1st is going to receive $615 total. $600 in principal, $15 in interest. Dishonoring a note, which means that on the maturity date it is not paid. All right. Well, in this case, as long as you expect to be paid at some point in the future, the entry looks the same, but instead of recording receipt of cash, we're going to put it back into an account receivable. Right. Now, this would only be appropriate when you do genuinely believe that you will get paid. If you don't get paid, then the accounting for this goes to or against the allowance for doubtful accounts. When notes are issued in 1 year and mature in another year, we have to accrue interest to year's end. All right. And here's one such example. So on December 16th, TechCom accepts a $3,000 60-day note, 60-day 12% note from a customer granting an extension on a past due account. When TechCom's accounting period ends on December 31st, $15 of interest has accrued on the note. All right, here's your computation. Face amount, 12%, 15 days, because the note was issued on December 16th, and December has 31 days. All right, so that's how we get our interest computation. No cash changes hands on December 31st. That's not the maturity date. But we do need to split interest earned in 1 year, i.e. ending December 31st, and interest earned in the next year, which we don't have to account for just yet. So the $15 interest earned is an interest revenue, which is our credit. You always credit revenue to increase it. And we put an interest receivable on the books because at the maturity date, we're expecting to receive that $15. All right. Now, when the note does in fact mature, this is what the entry looks like. So the note comes off the books at $3,000. The interest receivable from the previous journal entry comes off because we're collecting now. We need to compute interest on the remaining note. So here we have a computation for interest on the entire 60 days. We've already accrued for 15, which leaves 35. And the collection is going to be $3,060. All right. So if you follow that, great. If not, we will work through this several times in class.